Singing.
Singing, but you said you knew...
Yeah, it's a choir in Israel,
It's
right?
a choir. It became the National Choir of Israel later on, decades after my father was participating in that choir. Like in the 1970s, it became the National Choir of Israel.
Oh, nice.
But I decided that, you know, when you do a birthday party, you invite family and friends. But since my family is far away, across the Atlantic Ocean in Israel, so I decided to celebrate my father's 88th birthday. Which is coming up in a few days in Lag BaOmer, and I decided it's a perfect idea, you know, just to buy the cake. I called him and I investigated him. I asked him about, you know, some information about the choir, which I never told me too much about it. So the Rinat is the choir. Now my father, it was his hobby. He was singing in the choir in the 1960s. And this recording is 50 years old. He's 88, so he was fairly a young man, like 37, 38. I cannot imagine him younger than me. When he was in the choir for a few years. And this recording is from 1962, 63, something like that. And he has a solo there. Now, what is the Rinat Choir? The Rinat Choir was a group of professional musicians, except my father was not a musician. He did it as a hobby. He had a different profession. But most of them were music teachers, arrangers, composers. All of them were professional. Like, can you imagine a choir that everybody is a Sigal Khan and Michael Abelson? and Michael Abelson. Everyone in that choir was a professional singer, so you can imagine what they could do. And it was mainly a cappella choir, and they did not use any accompaniment. They sang ranging from madrigals of Monteverdi, which is like
1600s.
Yeah, to contemporary Israeli music like we do here in the choir. And it was established that the conductor was Gary Bertini, which probably you've heard about
Gary
him.
Bertini at one point conducted the Jerusalem Symphony.
Right, and then he made a very good career in Europe. And the choir was, you know, that was like a sacred place for my father. Nobody missed a rehearsal. I just remember that I suffered from the absent father syndrome. Because what happened was they toured in many kibbutzim. They had a lot of, you know, performances in Chagim and, you know, sometimes weekends, and we were stuck at home. We could not join him every time that he went to all these places. So, and then one thing is that just to give you an idea who was in the choir, it so happens that I went into one of the pictures now, because I never really was thinking about Rinat, but it so happens that maybe mikre, or coincident or not, but the person who was standing next to my father all these years, because they had an arranged standing arrangement, like it was a fixed arrangement. The person who was next to my father is no less and no more than Gilal Dema.
Wow.
So
He arranged Al Kol Eila and some of the other songs we've done.
At that time, I did not know that it was legendary. I was, you know, in the 3rd grade. But in any case, so that's about Rinat. I'm going to present. I'm not going to talk too long, but just to say that in 1962, 1 year before Kennedy's assassination, I remember it well. 1962, I was in the 3rd grade. My father, they went to the whole choir was sponsored by America Israel Foundation, same foundation that my husband was getting scholarship from. And they sponsored a trip to America, to the USA. And my father left. All I remember is that he went far, far away to a faraway land which is called America. It was like a far place, and he will never come back because it was like a 2-month tour. And then my own memory and impression was that my brother is older than me in 3 years. He gave him the keys to our car, private car, and he taught him how to ignite it every morning, otherwise 2 months, you know. And we snuck into the car, and people looked like, what's going on here? Like an 8-year-old and 11-year-old daughter sitting in the car and igniting the car, and the car was, that's all my memory from that period. But in any case, in the US, at that time there was hardly, I mean, it was different times. But they sang in Washington, D.C. I don't know where it was, but it was in the presence of JFK, of John Kennedy. Not a solo, but the choir sang 1 or 2 songs. Danny Kaye appeared. It was a fundraising event for what will become in the future the Performing Art Center. And then after assassination of Kennedy, they named it the Kennedy Center. And then they had a recital in Carnegie Hall, and my father had this solo in Carnegie Hall, and then they even went on the Ed Sullivan Show. Wow!
Then they made it.
Okay, now, to wrap it up, מאמר סוגר, like, concluding statement. What does it have to do with the HIR choir? Well, I'll tell you what, it has to do everything with the HIR choir because the reason I joined the choir, every time I came twice to hear Jonathan, and I always was working in the afternoon because I teach piano, and I said, that's it, I have to join this choir. Because each time that I sang here, or each time that I played the piano, I felt my father's presence, like I felt the spirit of Rinat and the spirit of the choir and the singing and the Hebrew. And I have to say, Jonathan is no less professional than Gary Bertini. It's too bad that you are not, professional singers, but you're good. Just for the legacy of my father, and I wish him, good health till 120 at my 20 shana. And in the spirit of Rinat, I'm just, glad to share this with you. And now I'm going to play the tape. But one sentence, really, I promise, is that that recording, my father always complained that it was the worst recording. I mean, he said that, by the time they gave him the recording to do the solo, it was after they had maybe 3-hour rehearsal and his voice was already kaput, like no good. He felt that like it's so what you hear now is not his best, but it still sounds good. The name of the song is Turtle Dove by an English, it's an English folk song by Ralph Williams. And my father singing Arie Ophir, that's his name. Is singing the baritone, he has a baritone, and Sylvia Shammai is singing the soprano. Okay, I'm done.